Previously on the Insurance Apprentice.
What we're going to be doing is getting you to write down the name of the person that you think should be leaving the competition next. Rain, will you please reveal who you voted for? Rain, will you please reveal who you voted for? That's one vote for Shivani. Why Shivani?
This was a really difficult decision to make. I think our preparation as a team lacked overall, but ultimately, as far as the leader is concerned, I do put the decision that she made squarely on her shoulders.
Thanks, Rain. Shivani, please reveal who you voted for. You voted for yourself.
Correct.
Why, Shivani?
As a leader, you are responsible for your team. If they win, you win. If you lose, you've lost.
You realize that the next vote will basically decide whether you stay or leave the competition. Temwa, please reveal who you voted for.
Shivani.
That's 3 votes for Shivani. So the next person leaving the Insurance Apprentice Season 10 is Shivani. You're dismissed. That was, quite a dramatic end to the day. I know it's not easy having to vote for one of your colleagues. I do think that it was the right decision, and I think that we need to commend Shivani for what she did. I know she owned up to this during the competition today, and I think that does show leadership. But the numbers are dwindling. The competition is getting stiffer, and Team 1, well done today. It was a fairly low bar for you to win. You didn't have something huge to jump over. So you were, to some extent, helped by your opposition. But you were successful, and I think you can pat yourselves on the back for that. And then there were some good ideas there. So I'll see you for the next task. Get some rest, and good luck.
Having just been eliminated, obviously it's never a good feeling, but I think in this instance it's understandable.
When they gave us a task, she did want to ride with it. She felt very passionate about it.
You know, you have to know that just because you're passionate about something, it might not work.
Yeah.
When it comes to business, it's not only about how you feel.
Yeah.
Can it really work?
Yeah.
Well, Well, yes, I think I deserve to go home based on the criteria they're looking for, and it is a competition. You take on a leadership role and you don't lead your team to success, and yeah.
With the way that things ended, I'm actually really proud of Shivani and the way she went out.
So too.
One thing I always advocate for is playing the game in a way that you can be proud of when you want your back.
It was strategic. I knew she was going to do it. She took the high road.
Yeah. She did.
Which is very, very admirable.
Yeah, she can be proud of herself.
I wrote my own name down because, again, in a leadership role, you are responsible for that team. And I don't think it's fitting of a leader to throw anyone in your team under the bus.
Shivani was responsible in some way for the glimmer of hope we had in our presentation. She decided to go broad rather than keep it at a single idea. And if we did choose to go for a single idea, Kibafense's idea was never going to come to light.
I have no regrets coming back. I think I can eventually sleep at night knowing I've seen it to fruition to the best of my ability. And yeah, I think now I'm at peace with knowing where I fare.
Hello and welcome to the Insurance Apprentice, a competitive reality show where a young, up-and-coming insurance professionals risk it all to become the face of the insurance industry. I'm your host, Nontutsugo Mhlungu. This episode is brought to you by Sazria, the only non-life insurer in South Africa that provides a special risk cover for damages caused during strikes, riots, and protests. While with each passing week, the stakes get higher and higher, the tasks are more grueling, the judges are more critical, and the teams get smaller and smaller. This is the Insurance Apprentice.
So guys, sure, back here again another week.
Last week was crazy, man.
It definitely was.
It was, but one thing I'm gonna say, regardless of whatever that was happening between Shivani and I bowed down to her. She went down like a captain.
Last week felt a bit like a nightmare. You know, I was visibly upset. I never actually thought about the reality of Shivani leaving.
Last week was intense. It was really difficult writing a name down. And I think I got to feel how difficult it is to actually eliminate someone.
The elimination was very painful. I did not expect that at all. It felt like you were cutting yourself writing a contestant's name.
But how do you feel being the last female? You need to represent. I'm rooting for you.
Saying that.
I'm rooting for you.
Oh, thank you, Tiba. I thought that, Shivani and I would be the last women standing.
Excited for today. Sasria, Special Risks Insurance, how are we feeling?
Yeah, I wonder what the task is going to be.
What is my strategy this week? It is to not get eliminated. I think ideally, it's best to be part of the winning team.
Thought the whole week that I'm going to have a target on my back this week. I think the contestants will see me as a threat.
My biggest threat, surprisingly now, is Kibafense. He actually did get the attention of the judges.
Are you excited for this week's challenge?
I don't know what it is yet, so I'm a little bit nervous, as always, because they surprise us each time, and then you think you got it, and then you're like,
This week, I definitely want to step into the light and really put myself out there, lead the group that I can.
So my strategy now moving forward, I just need to be proactively there. If it means I have to break a pen, I have to break a pen.
I think for this week, you're the best man or woman.
Yeah,
or Anifa. Woman. Best woman or Anifa win.
Yeah. We're so close to the top 6, I can feel it.
Yeah, right. As long as the group wins again,
we're doing this again.
We're doing this.
Okay, Apprentice on 3. 1, 2, 3. Apprentice!
Welcome back. Firstly, I'd like to thank Old Mutual Insure for sponsoring our amazing studio, and of course Standard Bank Insurance, who've been accommodating all of the cost during the competition. I know it's getting tough now. Numbers are obviously reducing with each passing task. Those of you that have been sort of loitering or hiding in the background during the tasks, you won't be able to do that going forward. Anifa, you are the only woman left in the competition. How does that feel?
really overwhelmed, actually.
There's a lot riding on your shoulders now. You're sort of, as it were, fighting for female representation in the Insurance Apprentice. Are you up for it?
Yeah, I'm definitely up for the task. I'll give my best.
Sasria have been sponsoring this competition since it started. Muzi Dladla has been a judge with us on the past few years. Muzi, do you want to talk us through? Welcome, first of all, and thank you, and over to you for the task.
Thank you, Simon, and good morning to all of you contestants. So we have put together a task where you, as the contestants, are consultants. Having said that, there are about more than 3,200 informal settlements in South Africa. So the individuals that live there don't really have much. So you need to put together a solution that puts these individuals in a position where there's a disaster. So the disasters that we've limited this to are two. It's fire, which is one of the biggest risks in informal settlements, proximity. They live very close to each other. The other one is flooding. So being in the climate that we are, with extreme floods, extreme rain, so you're supposed to come up with a solution for us, one that is innovative, first of all, one that is feasible in terms of how it could be put together. So you're connecting theory to practice. So that's quite important. And it must also be one that is sustainable, that can be held over a long time.
Thanks, Muzi. Knox?
Good morning, contestants. I'll keep my thing brief this morning, but I'd really just like to echo my sentiments from the last task. Remember the opportunity before you, right? To advance your thoughts, your ideas, and your innovations to the foreground. No holding back today.
Thanks, Knox. So, there you have it. You could actually play a role in really impacting a lot of people's lives if you come up with some good ideas. So really just think about that while you're working through this. This is not a tick box exercise. All right, so you've been split into your groups. We look forward to seeing what you come back with. Good luck. Your time starts now.
I keep my eyes out and I'm watching the world with my feet. This is the moment. It's the cold, it's the flames, it's the fault lines.
Don't become the collateral damage of civil unrest, strikes and riots. One word can rewrite your story. Sasria. As the only company in South Africa that insures you against civil unrest, Sasria ensures that when things go bad, Sasria makes good.
Sasria's main operation has always been replace, reinstate, then pay cash. If you take a look at informal settlements, the majority are on grants.
Yep. Yeah.
Why don't we take a look at including the payment of Sasria directly from
grant?
Yes. The task itself is very challenging. It's challenging us all to kind of pull all of our best resources together.
We have an insurance product that does the normal covers for these things, specifically for fire and flood. But then we need to have the tech that underlies how we buy the insurance.
Presentation prep is going all right. I think having a smaller group is quite cool. Working with two other guys in the group, it's quite interesting.
I think what we need to do is obviously pull this thing apart and understand where is it that the technology is required. Is it the insurance product? Because we mustn't try and tie
that technology at the end.
Yeah, so where are we emphasizing the technology and where are we emphasizing like quick response?
Anifa and Mandi made us go back and forth, and myself and Temwe had to spend a lot of time trying to convince them of what was very clear in the brief.
I think it would be a good idea to use an app angle in terms of technology. And if you actually see some of these informal settlements, although they are poor and impoverished,
they are present on social media. It's the first time I'm working with Temwa, and I'm actually impressed in how he blended into the team. I had worked with Anifa and Tristan before. We did have some disagreements on some points regarding the presentation.
We've kind of got the ball rolling on the money and premium aspect.
We just not have a product.
Yes. how does this product work? So that's what we need to focus on next. And then the next is how will we make the claims process?
Jason is well reserved. I'm shocked. He's actually listening. It's unlike what happened in the first task where I actually worked with him. I was frustrated.
Do they actually live there, or is this person staying somewhere else and they just came for the claim and then they go back to KZN?
Wait, can I interject before I want to speak after Tema? We're talking about an app, we're talking about an informal settlement. One thing people buy is airtime. We need to use a distribution channel that already exists.
I do feel that Anifa has again allowed herself to slip through in this task.
What I don't like is giving ideas, yet they're not listening to the ideas at all. Because it's coming from me, it's a no. So that is the thing that frustrates me the most.
Let's think about supermarkets. Usually it's easier to pay at a supermarket. It's easier to find a supermarket.
Yeah, because that addresses the payment premium, which historically, if we're taking a look at municipalities, SOEs, it's an issue already. Jason nominating me as a leader did cross my mind that it could be a potential setup, but I'm confident that I can pull through this unscathed.
I'm concerned with our task, but Rain's leadership, I feel it just needs a little bit of a step up. He needed to be stronger, I think, in this moment.
Here's my issue with the claim stage, right? Who gets to claim? How do you qualify the people who are claiming?
Community generally knows who lives where.
Yeah,
they generally.
But the issue is it's a lack of order in informal settlements, and there's no community members.
And you can't informal things.
Right, exactly.
Yes, I agree.
You see?
Mandy just does not listen. His brain automatically just goes to negative, negative, negative.
I do think that Anifa and Mandi made us go back and forth by arguing over things which were already in the brief.
We are an insurance company, right?
Yes.
Government is going to pay us premiums, right?
So we're taking a lump sum premium per development.
Exactly. Lump sum premium per development.
I see Kiba as a threat to my team. The moment I walked in the doors, I knew that he was going to be a great competitor. And until he goes home, I'm not going to be comfortable with him yet.
So our technology will rely on USSD for the most vulnerable and those who can't actually afford smartphones. The USSD will be distributed to all users, whether they have the app or they don't have the app, because not everyone has internet access.
100%.
Right?
So no app. Let's not even talk about the app. Let's not even leave the app. Let's leave the app. Just focus on the USSD. Yeah.
The USSD. I'm not confident in our solution as I have in previous episodes. I do think the other group has some strong contestants in it, and I suspect they're going to come through with a strong solution, which might put us on the back foot.
You guys happy with this?
Yeah, it looks good. I think we really did good work on this, and I hope the judges will be pleased.
I really hope so too.
What is the name of your team?
All-in-One Solutions.
Okay, great. Take it away.
Board, we're All-in-One Solutions, and today we're going to be presenting to you an innovative insurance product which we believe Sasria should start championing to assist those who live in informal settlements and have been the victims of flood.
Us, as All-in-One Solutions, have decided to come up with an insurance product as part of our NCR program that we call NetCat Relief Policy. What this seeks to achieve is to assist by us removing them from their affected informal settlements to a location that has been selected by NCR while they work to recover from the losses and/or damages that they've incurred. A policy loss limit of 25,000 per household, per family, for each and every event and in aggregate would help assist the affected families. And how this would be structured would be a recovery housing unit to the value of 12,500 Rand. Essential contents up to 7,500 Rand and a food hamper up to 5,000 Rand. This policy and/or insurance product would be fully subsidized by government.
With that, we had to consider the reach. How do we reach them? How do we talk to them? How do we assist them and let them know exactly what is going on? So what we have proposed is essentially a collaboration with the telecommunications networks in the country, such as Vodacom and MTN. We want to essentially make use of their USSD networks to communicate with the people affected. So essentially, this USSD communication will be used to basically, number one, warn them of what is coming, of possible storms and floods. 2, to confirm their location, and to also give them opportunity to reply to us and give us information. Also, what we'll be doing is we'll be using that system to send out emergency networks, and also allowing us to keep a reference number for the claims process and registration process, as well as the replacement process.
So in our consideration to use USSD, we realized that those that are living in informal settlements don't all have smartphones. But we have a second level of how we want to actually inform them. And this is basically our main distribution model. And that is giving education to those that this program does actually exist. And our distribution channels to give this education, firstly, is broadcast media, mainly the state broadcaster, both radio and TV. Secondly is face-to-face contact, and that in particular is community centers such as clinics or hospitals that are localized, where they can get pamphlets in these areas. And lastly as well is social media.
But this isn't a cash payout. What this is using the information from our telco partners to specify down to where these insureds are, which then can be overlaid with our flood data to note those who have suffered. What we can then do at the same time is, with an appropriate logistics partner, start rolling out recovery housing units which have been stockpiled, and I'll get back to that in a second. But once those recovering housing units are rolled out, using the USSD solution, we're then able to interact with the victims to ensure that they get these recovering housing units. If we can help people who have suffered still enjoy their right to housing, we also reduce the likelihood for further damage from civil commotion, from unrest, because they should rightfully be upset if government doesn't step in to help them. And that's what this plan does. It helps government plan for a response, and it uses Sasria's expertise to do that as an insurance product.
Thank you very much. I think your presentation was quite clear. We're looking at finding an innovative solution for a problem that currently exists. And in the introduction, we're talking about fire being prevalent as well as flooding. Are you as a team satisfied that what you come up with as a solution that focuses solely on the one part of it, that you've actually really done as much as you could have?
The simple answer would be no. Remember, this is obviously a solution where we decided in this particular instance to focus on flood. We're not excluding, right, us considering adding fire as a possible peril.
All right.
I might have missed it, but what's the great innovation here?
I think the innovation...
Like if no, just thank you.
Understood.
If someone can just sweetly summarize the great innovation.
I can answer that. Firstly, there is no geospacing alerts for floods that targets those specific areas of informal settlements. And our innovation is to geospace in those areas and basically compare that against the database of the information we got from our educational campaigns.
If you had approached this as an insurance product, working out the premium that should be allocated to covering this, you should have given some more thought to that, regardless of whether it was flood or fire. But that should have been in your presentation, really.
We do know that informal settlements contain a lot of undocumented immigrants.
I think...
And non-South Africans.
Yeah.
What happens to the balance of the people affected?
So whether or not you have a phone or, I suppose, are undocumented, you generally do live in a community that will have a campaign targeted in that community. So people will start talking like, have you heard of this, you know? But we did predominantly focus on those with IDs and ID numbers.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get to what was the reasoning for that. Do you know what the data is in terms of the split? Is there data? Did you guys look at that?
No, we didn't consider that aspect.
All right, thank you, team. Good luck.
I was very nervous going into this task. I do think that when it came to the four of us in the team today, myself and Temwa definitely put through a strong showing, and I think Anifa and Mundi skated a bit.
I do believe I did enough to make it through the next round. I contributed fully. The idea that we worked on was mine.
If we were to speak about the contributions I've made to the team today, let's remember at the end of the day, we were asked to do an insurance product, and that's what I presented on.
What is the name of your team?
KJR Consultant, Simon.
You definitely didn't use ChatGPT to come up with that one.
So original.
All right, take it away.
Afternoon, Sasria board. We are my Zozo community. We are my little home.
The major problem that we face in South Africa is connecting or bridging the gap between the insured and the vulnerable. And that's what we're trying to aim to do today. As an example, in the recent floods in Durban, over 4,000 households were displaced and homes were destroyed. And that's what we want to fix.
So my Zozo cover is umbrella insurance for your community by the community. What we mean by this is we don't insure you as an individual, but we partner up with the municipality to ensure the informal settlements within that respective municipality.
What makes my Zozo so different? Well, we insure flood and fire, and that is it. It's a normal perils-based policy wording with a little catch. There's no average that applies. Because it's a community scheme, there won't be need for the underinsurance, as well as the policy wording being excuse me. We cover fire and flood cover, and we do not apply average at claim stage because we replace the homes of the displaced.
This is what we will do. Firstly, we use drone technology. We partner up with AfriGIS. Now, once we have collected this data, we are going to section off this informal settlement. Every square that you see will be a section, and the reason why we do that is that should a fire break out and the municipality has to lodge a claim, or the ward councillor, they can tell us exactly which section is affected.
We call it claim per area. As you know, that the administrative tasks involved with each and every single claim rises exponentially. So what we'll do is, when we partner with the municipality and the councillor ward, they will be lodging the claim on behalf of the community to ensure that this is seamless and to ensure that we have a rapid response rate to all of these claims incidents.
Right, now you're wondering how much all of this is going to cost, and it will only be 30,000 rands per unit, right? Now, this is how it has been priced. Firstly, the structure that is going to be erected there will be built using recyclable material. It will definitely be concrete, right? Now, the additional amount that you see there will be for one, elevating the area. Number two, we know that fires break out a lot here. So we say install fireballs in the home. The reason for this is should a fire break out in that house, it does not spread to the rest of the community.
Sorry, install what into the house?
This is fire extinguishing balls.
What we suggest is starting with one ward first, and if we take a look at Durban, based on the recent losses from the floods encountered, 4,000 homes, we're looking at a 120 million loss.
We would use our technology that we've developed and the surveys that we have done to actually ascertain the high-risk areas from the low-risk areas and actually implement it from high to low.
We believe that solving these problems will ensure future stability for the country.
Thank you.
Thank you, team. Muzi, I'm going to hand straight over to you.
Thank you, Simon. There's just one first question I'm going to have to ask, which I'm a bit confused, I'm not getting. How is this an insurance product?
The insurance product itself is for the replacement of the homes that are affected by the weather damages and floods and fires that burn down and affect these citizens in the informal settlements. This is not a product to safeguard people, but to replace the homes that they have lost.
Just take us through the value chain, the acquisition. How would that be hypothetically priced to make it a viable insurance product, given the scale? We're talking about the entire South Africa, right?
So we used our Durban example, and on those 4,000, we came to a figure of about a 60 million premium that we would need to actually run this by.
So the premium would be roughly 50% of that?
Yes, factoring the fact that we're not expecting a full loss of 4,000 units straight away.
Right.
So we're working over an estimate of 2 years with a 60 million premium per annum with reinsurance support.
You guys are insurers, come on.
Sorry, we actually got that wrong, guys. The 60 million isn't our premium. The premiums will come from the rating of our risk surveys. So once we go there and we can see and we can ascertain.
Sorry, did you actually think about the insurance part of this? Because what sounds like is that what you've put together is a great plan for the government to fund replacement of homes that are destroyed in a fire or in a flood, but not necessarily viewing it as if you were an insurer, which is what Sasria is, and going, this is actually the premium we would need per unit across South Africa or in a particular area so that we can fund X losses per annum. Did you actually think about that? I need an honest answer here.
Did we do this?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did do that. These figures are based purely on the losses. We didn't go into the figures per unit, per area, because we're not sure what that would entail when we first launch.
Sorry, just to add to that, I just need to get our facts straight here because we need to also step up here. We're looking at a community scheme. So the unit price is not what we're looking at. We're saying, and that 60 million was a figure that we came from based on the losses of what premium we would need if there was another loss like the one before.
I get that, but I think what you guys missed here is that you're assuming that this is just the government paying for these things. But it's not to say that, you know, we need to put aside 60 million because we're going to have to pay this kind of claim every year.
That's more of our reserves. We need to start with a reserve of about 60. We've done the reinsurance of the 120. That's where we came from to the 60.
I suppose you should have just been clear maybe that it's a reserve that you keep up front.
Yeah, we weren't. So that's 60 million. Rain actually mentioned it to us in our team, where it was a 50% reinsurance from the 120 million, and that's where we came from.
I feel like I'm watching an extremely elaborate, unrehearsed tap dancing routine. So please,
it's the one question.
Continue.
One question.
Yeah, well, take us through now the second question I asked in respect of the acquisition, using that technology and highlighting the efficiencies that this technology is bringing.
So the reason why we are going to use drones is we don't want to be in a position where you use sensors, you have people going in, counting per unit. If you have a drone, already you'll have an aerial view. Now, what's going to happen is it's going to cut down on the time. If something that you could have done, maybe taken 2 weeks to do, you can actually do it in a day.
I just think there was a complete lack of depth that could have been circumvented by researching the historical data to assist you with the rating elements to make sure that this was a financially sustainable solution. So.
All right, thank you very much. Good luck.
We struggled. When it comes to being in sync as a team, we struggled. But hey, we pulled it off. We tried.
I feel that Jason pointing out that the group needs to get their information together definitely shows there isn't cohesion in the team, and I don't think it was a wise move from him in showing leadership skills.
When the judges threw out the technical questions, I think we didn't have the answer. So I did step in and say we need to step up and we need to get our facts straight because that's not what we're saying.
Right, I'm going to cut to the chase.
Your presentation was coherent. However, it left out a very critical part of it. I'm just disappointed with one part. You guys did not cover the part that related to this being an insurance product. The brief is, tell us, how is this an insurance product? Show us how you price it hypothetically based on the information that you have. We're going to give you a chance to decide amongst yourself who's going to represent the team, one person. You need to choose one person amongst the three of you who's going to go and sing for your supper. Are you clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here we go. I was sure he was going to eliminate us.
I didn't know what to feel.
This is going to be a tough one.
When the judges walked in, I was so shocked because we were wondering what's happening.
We were just resting after a traumatic presentation and all of a sudden, bam. Yeah.
For this task, we chose Mandy to go present for us. He was doing our numbers and we thought he has the best base to kick off the task.
I trust you with numbers. I trust you with the numbers.
So now we need saving.
I'm there to save face.
Because again, the reserve, you started with it.
Sometimes you have to give the samurai their sword.
The thing, we tried to fly in flood data and there was no publicly available data.
I do not know anymore. I'm in a panic. I'm shaking. I really did not expect that to happen.
Reinsurance, don't forget that reinsurance is going to kick in.
Okay, let's talk percentages, okay? Percentage of premium that goes into cover.
Well, we trust Rain to go into that room now and help us. It's all in his shoulders now.
All right.
Judges.
You've got 2 minutes, starting now.
Presenting the figures based on our findings within a small substrate of data, since the data is really difficult to tally on a national level. We'll be starting with Durban. If we implement this in Durban, we are looking at a premium of R11.80. This is calculated on a 60% loss ratio based on 9.6 million rand losses, with around 320 houses displaced this year. We're looking at a factor of around 300 to 400 houses displaced yearly, which leaves us at a profit margin of around 60% if we implement a premium of R11.80.
Can you articulate again just briefly the total value that you used to calculate the 11.8?
So based on the information that was presented on the document, we are looking at 1.3 million households within informal settlements around the major cities.
All right, time is up. Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
Right, Mandy.
Thank you very much. So this is obviously an insurance product that we're proposing. So we obviously had to consider who would be paying the premium and how this insurance structure would work. There are about 42,000 settlements in South Africa. On average, about 465 people in each. We went and noted that our policy limit per person per household was 25,000. So we took the number of settlements in South Africa, times it by the average number per Western settlement, times it by the policy loss limit to get to a total exposure for the insurer of about 46 billion. The initial investment, as per our hope, would at least, instead of coming from the government fiscus, come from the dividends that are currently being paid by Sasria to the government.
Can you repeat how you got to the total value at risk of 46 billion?
So we took how many settlements there are in South Africa.
Which is how many?
Which was 42,000 per our research.
Yeah.
So we took the average number of of households per settlement, which was 465 per our presentation, and then we times by how much we would settle per household, which was 25,000.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Sure.
We've heard the presentations, we've heard the 1-on-3 grilling sessions. What do you think?
It's a close one, I'd say, because each team did what the other team didn't do. in the brief. In fact, if you bring these two guys together to do this thing collectively as a team, I think they would come up with a perfect solution.
I hate this part, knowing that the judges are now deciding on what the fate is. I'm extremely nervous, but I'm going to keep my hopes up and see how it goes.
What did you think of our two chosen spokespeople?
I think they rescued their groups.
They were good, right?
Yeah.
Those two,
Yeah.
I mean, it took a lot of guts to do that.
I was interested to see who the groups would nominate, and I wasn't expecting that individual to take that baton, but I think it was a great decision.
You never know what's going to happen. You are nervous, anxious, and almost scared to an extent. So I think, again, today, I'm feeling the exact same way.
Do you also agree that there is no clear winning group?
It's tough.
The other guys focused on the individual more than the structure, but the method maybe of getting the individuals to be acquired, to be added into the system was a bit shaky.
The judges in the next room are always a stress level factor because you never know whether you're going to get cucked out or whether you're going to be sent home.
Brilliant idea, but maybe practicality might be an issue. So you say you're sitting with these two conflicting, and if theirs could be combined, you can imagine the magic that could come out of that.
Every episode thus far, I've walked out of the presentation thinking that we delivered a strong presentation and a strong solution, only to come back to some very difficult and critical feedback to process.
Are you saying then that it does sound like we're edging more towards this group?
I would say so. Not that the other one's not good, but this one came much closer to the brief than the other one.
This is the hour that always makes me the most anxious because you never know, you know?
This conversation always feels like Judgment Day. You know, it feels like I've died and now I have to account for my sins.
Are we clear on who should go home out of these groups?
This was the first time I fumbled. So I'll take failure as a learning opportunity, and I think I can come back stronger if I stick around.
Okay, well, it's a tough one, but yeah, let's get them back in here. Right, so I'd like to thank Old Mutual Insure for sponsoring our studio, and of course Standard Bank Insurance for providing accommodation, and definitely Sasria for setting a really great task today. Now, I talked to all of you after the first task and again after the second task, and I told you what would happen if you weren't focused, if you didn't bring your A game every day, if you didn't work as a team, if you didn't read the brief. We've seen some great contestants already exit the competition. I told you what would happen. And that's why it's really, really so amazing to see how you performed today. It was incredible. I mean, it was like a whole different competition. I really enjoyed that. And yeah, I think you can all pat yourselves on the back for that. But I'll say no more about it for now. Knox, your side?
Besides the fact that I'm smiling, you guys would have noticed that there was something very different from me today. There was actually very little to pull apart from your presentations. And that's because for the first time in my judging career, I was very impressed. Everyone pulled their weight. You know, our hope as judges is really that you'll take, the feedback that we give you, find value and you apply it, in your next task in order to improve and grow. And today you guys did that. From my side, I want to say well done to everybody. I am really proud of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Knox. The most important person at the table, of course, our task sponsor and expert in this field. Let's have your thoughts.
I probably was the one who was a bit harsher and a bit harder on you, I think, on this particular one, but for good reason. The same reason is what Knox has said. This is a especially very difficult task because it's out of your comfort zone. I think it's very important to mention we asked you to choose 2 members to represent each team, which you did. One of them I think was expected, the other one was not very expected. But I must say, Mandy and Rain, you've done very well on that. You answered the question. Now the question is, how are the judges going to come to a decision? So that's the difficult part that we as judges now have to deal with.
Thanks, Muzi. Of course, that does bring me to the more difficult part of what we have to do today. Jason, what happened during your presentation today?
I just hit a blank for a few seconds and I needed to compose myself. I think the nerves got to me for the first time.
Look, you know, the margin for error at this stage of the competition is so fine. You know, even the slightest stumble could mean the end of your time here on the show. And Jason, you've been a really good competitor. And that's why it's really important that I tell you that you're staying in the show and you're going to be with us for another week.
Thank you, Simon and judges.
And the reason for that is because you're in the winning group today. So team 1, fine margins.
Very fine.
We found ourselves today in an environment where, rather than us sort of scrambling for points like we've had to do previously, you know, we had to try and spot those fine points that pushed one group ahead of another, and it wasn't easy. That was why we ended up calling 2 of you back in here again. It's very difficult to decide who that person should be. We're going to have to get you as the team to decide who leaves the show today. You're all going to be handed some cards, and I'm going to need you to write the name of the person that you think should be leaving the show today. All right, so you're voting for the next person to leave the competition. Tristan, I think we'll start with you. Who did you vote for?
Anifa.
Why Anifa?
Simon, as you said, today it was by very slim margins. However, this is the second episode in which Anifa has taken the less substantial portion of the task by choice. I think Mundi was close for me, but Mundi brought it back for me at the end there with the underwriting portion, so that's why I went with Anifa.
Thank you, Tristan. So that's 1 for Anifa. Anifa, who did you vote for?
I voted for Tristan.
Ah, a surprise. Why Tristan?
Tristan was very disruptive. He was dismissive to us putting our points together. He didn't give anyone a chance to speak. And I'm quite surprised that he's voting for me, considering it was we based it on my idea. So I don't even understand where that is coming from.
It was your idea, this?
Yes.
Okay, so that's 1 for Anifa, 1 for Tristan. Mandy, who did you vote for?
I voted for Tristan.
Why did you vote for Tristan?
Tristan is a strong competitor, but on this particular task, he was dismissive of some points that we should have brought across in the presentation. One of which was the peril of fire. And he said, let's move past it.
Okay, so that's 2 for Tristan and 1 for Anifa. Temwa, you have the deciding vote.
I voted for Tristan.
Tristan, that's 3-1. You are the next person to leave the competition. You're dismissed. I am as surprised by this as you probably are every time we make a decision, but it is your choice. You've decided that Tristan is the one to leave the competition. So thank you all, and I wish you luck for the next task. Thank you.
I'm devastated that I've just been eliminated.
Yeah, look, the vote wasn't easy, unfortunately.
I started crying.
You started crying? Yeah.
Did you think Tristan would be the guy that...
I thought it was between Tristan and
Okay,
Mandy.
so you had a suspicion.
I don't think that I deserved to go home today. I really thought I had what it takes to get to the finale.
I think I still have PTSD because of that voting.
Yeah.
I need a counselor.
Listen, when I saw Simon today ask us to vote again, I said it can't be.
Do you think that Mandy's solo performance today was what saved him?
Yes.
Absolutely. He could have attracted a few votes in the absence of that.
If that was not there, probably he's strong, I can tell, but he didn't bring it on the first try.
I understand why the team voted the way they do. I can be a strong personality.
One of my biggest threats coming into the top 10 was Tristan. I think we all have basically a bigger advantage because, to be honest, he is a mammoth when it comes to what he does.
Why I'm impressed with Anifa in particular, I felt like she showed understanding of the holistic picture. She should have been the weakest link purely by exposure, but she wasn't.
I stand by my vote that Anifa, I think, should have been the one to go home today.
I presented what I wanted to present. Essentially, I was writing notes, I was organizing.
And she compiled it.
I was compiling the presentation, then you want to tell me what? I didn't bring my A game.
I think having participated in the Insurance Apprentice, it's really solidified my fascination at how impactful this industry can be. And I really enjoy the fact that I'm able to contribute to it.
Live to fight another week.
Top 6, guys.
Top 6.
Top 6. Like, that's a big deal. Why haven't we celebrated yet? Yes. Oh my goodness.
I plan on staying in the industry. I plan on advising as best I can. And I plan on bringing my A game no matter where I am.
Muzzy, thank you. And once again, that brings us to the end of a brilliant Sasria task. And we say goodbye to one more contestant.